right, everybody. Hey, great to be with you and excited to be with you. It's going to be a great day. And boy, fall is in the air. Elections are happening. Everyone's voting, like record turnouts and all sorts of things, records in real estate, records in politics. So the real question I would ask you is, what records are you setting for your own self? What are you doing personally to set the record in regards to your personal best? What are you doing today in regards to your health, in regards to your economics and your finances and your business? And what are you doing in regards to your relationships? When's the time for you in every area of your life where you're going to step forward and personally set records for yourself? I've always appreciated the late Zig Ziglar, who said these words. He said, look, it's not as important to what did you do in relationship to what you could have done. That is the ultimate measuring stick. What did you do in relationship to what you could have done? For me, that has always been the measuring stick. And that's where we come from, a place of creativity versus a place of competition. So I've got some great notes for you today that I want to talk about. I want to share some great things with you. We've got people all over the place, all over the country listening to this today, and very, very excited to be with you from the standpoint that as you move forward in life, I just want you to ask yourself the simple question, and it's a simple one. Are you on track? Are you on track? Now, the key areas of life that I'm interested in, and the areas where us should be asking ourselves, are we on track? Number one is, are you on track mentally? Are you on track from a place of mental toughness, confidence? Are you on track in regards to how you think right now? Right? The impact of what is that we think about, where we are with our mindset, where we are with our confidence. Are you on track? Right now, here's the second point. Are you on track with the way in which you're building your craft, building your skill sets, creating your systems, your strategies? Are you on track with the way in which you communicate, the skills that you're learning, the way you speak, the way you convey your message, the way you influence people? And then the third thing, are you on track, as you're hopefully taking notes, is, are you on track in relationship to your disciplines, what you do every day? Now, I've believed for years that there's really only three major components that you need to focus on right now in this business. And if you can master your ability to prospect, your ability to exercise, physical exercise, and number three, practice, your mind and your skills. If you can discipline yourself in those areas of your life and get it all done, get those three things done before 12 noon hits, you're probably in a really good space of being able to have some extraordinary success. Look, I go back to the question, are you on track with your mind, on track with your skills, on track with your personal disciplines? Now, if you are not, now the next question, pretty simple one. What are you going to do to fix it? What are you going to do right now? So guys, gals, take a piece of paper out, take the time, take the energy right now to define for yourself. What will you do differently right now? How will you get on track right now? I want you to write three things in regards to your mindset of what you're going to either keep doing because it's working, or number two, that you need to be doing so you can elevate yourself getting on track. What are those three things you're going to do? Let me just give you a few ideas. What are you reading? What are you studying? What are you watching? What are you watching right now? Is your day consumed with Fox News, CNN, CSNBC, the local channels, talk radio? Think about what you're listening to and what you're watching. What are you studying? Who's influencing you, which we're going to talk about. It's one of my 5 points today. Let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about what we're doing to improve our mindset. What are you doing in regards to exercise? What are you doing in regards to your health? What are you doing in regards to your mental toughness that's going to elevate it? Every single thing that I've mentioned, who you spend your time with, what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, what you attend, what you do with your day, how much sleep you get, how much rest you get, how much exercise you get, all of these have an impact on the way in which we think and the way in which we feel. So how you feel and how you think is a critical component to your success. So look, If you're on track, what are you going to do to continue to get on track? How do you keep doing those things? And if you're not, what are you going to do to get on track? Just 3 things. You don't need to hit every one of those things I mentioned, but what if you just read the right stuff every day? What if you did some things that you were going to avoid, like turn off the news, turn off the media, turn off things that, or not spend time with the wrong people, right? What are you putting into your body, right? What are you doing in regards to protecting it and elevating it from a place of health and vitality? Are you drinking too much? Are you not drinking enough water? Are you not exercising? Are you not eating right? All of these have an impact. Maybe it's the fact that you need to reduce the stress. Maybe it's a massage. Maybe it's a spa treatment, right? Maybe it's something, but what can you do to get yourself on track? That's the key. Second point. So what do you need to do to get yourself on track with the way in which you communicate? Skill sets, mastering your craft, from systems, strategies, right? Ways in which you do business. How are you getting yourself on track when it comes to your skills? What are you doing in regards to practicing, rehearsing, internalizing scripts, dialogues? What are you doing to role play different scenarios? Are you participating in the role play that's every morning? Are you doing that? Are you elevating your game? Or are you just better because the market's better? Or are you waiting for the market to get better? My gosh, it can't really get much better. So what are you doing to elevate that skill set, to get on track with your skills? Third component is, what are you going to do to get on track in regards to your disciplines? Now look, is an accountability contract. When are you going to step up and ensure your future in regards to prospecting? Gosh, for all my managers, recruiting, why are you not putting accountability contracts in place with your own agents saying, hey, you talk to your 5-sphere, I'll talk to 5 agents, whoever doesn't do it, boom. That's called maturity. That's called leadership. That's called committing yourself. If you're the agent, if you're a manager, it doesn't matter. Those are the things that you do to win the game of leadership. And if you want to get on track, you got to make sure you're prospecting. You got to make sure you're exercising, and you need to make sure you're practicing. So again, what are you going to do to get on track? What are you going to do? This is not about why am I not on track? Why is about whining. But what are you doing to get on track? All right. So with that being said, let's switch gears for a moment. Let's just talk for a moment about focus. I wrote down here what great leaders do. If you want to write that down, you're welcome to. What great leaders do. ... What do they do? Well, here's what they do. They do 2 things regarding focus. They help people focus on the right things, and then they themselves focus on the right things. Have you not found it interesting over the last, let's just say now here we're like basically the last 8-9 months? Have you not found it at least interesting, perplexing, frustrating, maybe even makes you angry, maybe makes you a little frustrated at some major or minor level? But do you at least not find it interesting that everyone around you, from the media to the news stations, to the radio stations, to other people, well-intended, let's just take that, at least hopefully they are trying to get you to focus on what they, and whoever they are, what they want you to focus on. Because I want you to really consider the impact of the virus. Maybe I'm going to talk about some controversial things, but I want to talk about them for a moment. I want you to talk about the impact of the virus. I want you to talk about the impact of the tragedies, yes, of getting sick. But because the media has got you to focus so intensely and crazily on COVID, what is fascinating to me, I'm just going to say it, is the death rate is so low. But what is more interesting to me, 500,000 people will die of cancer this year, gang. 40,000 people will commit suicide. Another 600,000 people will die of heart failure. thousands upon thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people will die in different circumstances in different ways. But we have become obsessed and focused on one way of death. Newsflash, you get in your car on the 101 or on I-15 in Utah, you'll have a good chance of maybe not making it through it. Just the facts. But do you not drive your car? You still do in most cases. Think about this for a moment. Think about all the problems and the acidity and all the things that happen with cancer. Think about what we do, in regards to Big Macs and McDonald's and hamburgers and greasy foods and all the things we eat that are such poisonous things. And the 600,000 people that will die this year because of heart failure. And the 500,000 people that will die because of cancer. Or the people who are so depressed, so down and out, so discouraged that they take their own life, and the tragedies of the 40,000+ people that will do that this year. Scary stuff. Absolutely sad beyond measure. And then just the accidents of life and people whose lives are taken too early from a car accident to some freak situation. Every one of those moments are fearful. They're scary. They're frustrating. But I want to point out one key factor here for great leadership. And that is that great leaders focus on the right things, and great leaders get others to focus on the right things. Think about that for a moment. What are you focusing on? What are you focusing on? So write this down. Please write this down. You can either, or just write it in first person, I can either live my life. I can either live my life in the shape of my fear. I can either live my life in the shape of my fear or in the shape of my dreams. I want you to think about that for a moment. Think about all the fear that goes on. Think about all the boogeymans that are out there to get you. Guys, our brain is wired to protect us. Our brain is wired to help you survive. Your brain is wired to make sure that, oh my gosh, I'm going to say dinosaur, can't even say the T-Rex, right? Is not going to kill you. Because that's the fact, guys. Your body was wired to protect you. So yes, protect yourself from COVID, protect yourself from cancer, protect your heart, protect your kidneys, protect your organs, protect your body. Of course we're supposed to do that. But if you're living a life that is shaped around the magnitude of fear, man, you have got to take a step back and look at the story that you're telling yourself. I'm not talking about listening to Donald Trump. I'm not talking about listening to Joe Biden. I'm not talking about listening to Nancy Pelosi or your state senators and your state, your congressmen. And I'm not talking about those people. Because, man, there is enough media to last a lifetime from what's happened there. What I'm talking about is taking charge of your life and living an extraordinary life based on living your dreams. Now, look, if your story that you continue to tell yourself is about the fear, the anxiety, the man, things are so rough, so tough, so bad. Oh my gosh, I don't want to die. What if I get the virus? You can live that way. But I would challenge you, just a little aha. Why are you not living that way when it comes to over 600,000 people will die of heart attacks? When you go to McDonald's, why are you not thinking the same crap that the media is telling you about COVID? Because you have a better chance of dying from a heart attack than you will ever of COVID. And you have a better chance of dying of cancer than you ever will of COVID. And you have a better chance of dying of multiple other problems than you will ever die of COVID. But for some reason, this world has shut down on this idea that you have to live in your fear instead of living your dreams. So look, I'm not here on a political agenda. What I'm here on is I want you to live your dreams. I want you to achieve the life that you're destined to have. I want you to earn the money, the memories created, the adventures taken. I want you to live an extraordinary life that is free of fear, not sticking your head in the sand and acting like nothing's going on. But we act like that when we eat the Big Macs. We act like that when we go to Smashburger. We act like that when we have our health out of order. So the problem we have to each ask ourselves then is, wait a second here. Am I just a reality check? Instead of letting everybody else tell you what you're supposed to focus on, what are you going to focus on? What is your truth? What is your dream? What is your goal? What is your objective? How will you choose? Not forced. How will you choose to live a life that is free? That's all I want for you. I don't care where you're coming from politically. I really don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. Because the reason it doesn't mean anything to me is because we all often put ourselves in a prison of our own mind, a prison of our emotions, a prison of the actions, the prison of what everyone else is saying out there. And we go and we march to the tune of what others think, what others believe, what others say we should do. But man, what do you really believe? If no one was telling you what you should believe, man, what a defining moment of my life. If no one was telling you what you should believe, what would you believe? Not what your parents told you, not what your church told you, not what the clergy told you, not what your buddy told you. If you sat down with your journal and just wrote the words, what do I believe? What do you believe? No, not what others believe. And yes, is there a segue between truths and beliefs? Of course. But the fact of the matter is, if we can narrow the gap between what is true and what we believe, I can promise you, extraordinary life will occur. Sometimes people get so dang concerned about the gap between what their actions are versus what they believe they should be doing. But I believe the bigger gap happens in regards to what is truth, in regards to what people believe. And we can get in this argument every day about, well, I'm just living my truth. Truth is truth, gang. Truth exists. And the objective, I believe, of humanity is to narrow the gap in regards to, or at least our philosophies, between what we believe and what is true. And if we can shorten that, good things happen in life, because truth shall set you free, as we've all heard. So look, what I'm really saying in the end of this little minuet of passion, live an extraordinary life based on your dreams and not on your fear. In simple terms, what is your dream versus what is your fear? What do you avoid versus what do you want? What do you love versus what do you hate? Because guys, just me speaking, being very candid, I've almost died 14 different times. I remember when Jennifer and I sat down and analyzed how many near-death experiences I've had. I've laid in hospital beds where I thought my life was to be over. I remember walking into heart surgeries, hoping that I would just make it out. Tears truly running down my face, and the nurses and my wife coming to my rescue right coming out of heart surgery because I had tears coming down. I thought that I was in pain. And I spoke these words, truer than true. I said these things, and it's not made up, not fabricated like half the stories people like to talk about. And that is, I said, I am so grateful to be alive, as tears shed down the sides of my eyes as I was laying down on the hospital gurney. Look, you're alive today, so live. Don't live in fear. Yes, be wise. I'm not suggesting not to, but be as wise about who you socially distance from as you are to what you put into your mouth in regards to food and nutrition. Because you're more likely to die of heart failure and cancer than you ever will of COVID. And that's a fact. A fact. So think about what you're doing and live a life that is highly disciplined. And if you want freedom, that comes from discipline. Freedom, the byproduct, it comes because, or you get freedom because you are highly disciplined. Discipline equals freedom. That should be your tagline. Disciplined thought, disciplined emotions, disciplined words, disciplined emotions as you speak them, disciplines in our actions, disciplined in our prospecting, disciplined in our recruiting, disciplined in our everyday events, disciplined in our fidelity, disciplined in our relationships. Discipline equals freedom. You want to be free? Get disciplined and live the dream that you're supposed to live on this earth. Stop living in the shadows of fear and anxiety and I don't want to die. Guess what, gang? You're not going to get out of this alive. I have 14 examples of near-death experiences. I'm in the middle of writing this book, and we actually talk about all 14 of these near-death experiences. At the end of it, the author, the ghostwriter who's helping me write this, he said, wow. His exact words were, this is so compelling. I cannot believe how many times you've almost died. I have a deep belief. If you haven't read Andy Andrews' book, The Traveler's Gift, I would encourage you to read it. But in Andy Andrews' book, he talks about a hedge of thorns. A hedge of thorns. He talks about the fact that you're going to be protected. You will be. If your day is done, it's done. It's done. So start living. Stop living in so much fear. If your day is done, it's done. Your days are known. And some of you may not believe that, but I deeply do. Because there'd be 14 other times I shouldn't be standing in front of you. And I deeply believe that the story I choose to tell myself is that when my day is done, in so many words, when I'm called home, well, then that's the time I'm supposed to be there. And whether it be through tragedy, through an accident, or because I passed away like Sean Connery just did a few days ago, and he died in his sleep at 90 years old, hopefully I may be so fortunate. But the fact of the matter is, our days are known. So live your life based on a better story. Live your life based on your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, your most sacred desires. And stop stirring the pot of emotion. Get off the media. Remember, great leaders focus on the right stuff and get you to focus on the right stuff. If they're a great leader, they focus on the right things, not sensationalizing things, not making things worse than they are, not making them better than they are, just calling them as they are. That is great leadership. And look, you have the privilege and the opportunity as a real estate agent to lead people, to talk with people, to converse with people, to direct people, to influence people. People are looking for your message, looking for your ingredients to success, looking for your calmness, your nurturing, your empathy, your understanding, looking for direction of how to navigate not only a real estate transaction, but oftentimes, as we all know it, a real estate agent is like Dr. Phil, Oprah, and clergy and marriage counseling all wound up into one because that's who we are. Man, what a responsibility as we converse, talk with people. You have a stewardship, you have an accountability, you have a responsibility to be a light to this world, to be an inspiration to the people around you, to not be sucked up into the emotion, the hatred, the violence, and the poison that we're seeing of today. That should never be you. You should lead with your love, your light, your goodness, your beauty, your joy, your ability to be positive, to be optimistic, to be forthright in your belief that all will be well, because it will be. It will be, no matter the outcome. No matter the outcome of the political process, no matter the outcome, you will be okay. That's the story that you can choose to tell yourself, or you can tell your story a story of damnation, a story of absolute depression, anxiety, fear, destruction, collapse, calamity, tumultuous moments, and how bad things are. You can tell that story. You'll never hear that story from me. Because you know what? If the plane is going to go down, I'm going to survive. If I'm the one survivor from the major thing, I'm going to say that I am. Because you know what? Even if I'm wrong, well, at least I'm not here to talk about it. But I'm always going to remain in a space of positive, always in a place of optimism, always in a place of possibility, always in a place of looking for the shining silver lining that can exist if we tell ourselves a story that is dripping, bleeding with light, love, empathy, understanding. That is how great leadership is done. And the challenge today is that leadership is about fear-mongering. It is about the fear, the depression, the calamities, and the destruction that can happen. But it's not true. only to the fact that you choose to live that way. Only if you choose to take and turn your mind over to someone else, turn your emotions over to someone else who can influence them, impact them, change them. And then all of a sudden you find yourself depressed, anxious, fearful, and absolutely distraught beyond measure. That is a choice, ladies and gentlemen, by every single one of us to choose to live a life of light or dark, a life of love or a life of hate. That is the life that every day you get to choose to live. And if there is anything I can advise you on, it is the fact that it is a choice for you every single day. That has never been taken from you. Yes, will there be hatred in the world? Yes, will there be fearful people in the world? Yes, will there still be destruction in the world? Yes, but can you stay in a beautiful state while all of that is happening? That is your choice. A position to stay in the light. The light. When all of it's happening, when tomorrow or the few days coming afterwards, you'll find out whether it was your candidate who won or not. But will you stay in the light, or will you let the next news anchor from Fox or CNN, CSMC or CSNBC or your local news station be the impact of your life in regards to the light, the love, the joy that you get to experience? Remember, write this down, addiction. Some of you are addicted to the media. You know what is addiction? It is short-term benefit for long-term destruction. An addiction is short-term benefits. Think about that, short-term benefits for long-term destruction. That is an addiction. That is an addiction. And some of it is happening right within the media. That's the scary part. So as I always say, I want you to be free. I just want to mention, I had 5 points. We got to number 1. But let me just quickly say these few. We'll take 5 minutes and do it. Some of you, I can see, are taking notes. Boy, I sure hope that you're commenting. I hope. You know what I'd love to see in this in your chat box, gang? I would love to see what you're committed to. I don't need to see what you're committed to in regards to your political agenda. What I want to know is, what are you committed to in regards to living a life of love, light, goodness, joy, optimism? And the people who are pessimistic and negative, by the way, just as a side note, they always love to say things like, well, yeah, but George, you have to be realistic. I am realistic. I know that any difficult moment is much better handled when I'm optimistic. Any challenging moment of destruction is easier when I'm full of love and light. Any challenging moment within the company or for an agent or their lives or the tragedies of humanity are always easier when I am in the light, when I'm in a beautiful state, as Tony Robbins will say, when I'm feeling love, empathy, understanding, care, concern. That makes all of it easier. I am not suggesting, let's not be Pollyanna here and act like there's never going to be problems. That's not the point. The point is there will be difficult moments. How will you move through them? And often those difficult moments are happening every single day. So how will you move through them? How will you move through them? That's the great question. What will you choose to focus on? What meanings will you give things? And that will be the experience of your life. The emotion you feel, the story you tell yourself, that's the experience of your life. That's the experience of life. That's how it works. Heart, emotion, soul, thinking, experiencing. And I'm just challenging you to experience it in the shape of your dreams, your goals, your most sacred aspirations for life. Instead of, oh no, what's going to happen? And fear takes over, depression, anxiety, and absolute mental, emotional destruction that then feeds out to others that you're around, from your family, to your friends, to your loved ones, to your business, to your associates. Don't be that person. Do not allow that into your life. A declaration of what is it you're committed to. Man, I'd love to see it on the chat. With that being said, let's just get these points here. In leadership, you have the chance to either be a travel agent or a tour guide. You can point to people and say, this is what you should do, or you can take them there yourself. I've often said, and I remember when I heard this, I've said it for years, and that is, you're either a hiker or, or a true leader when you're at the top of the mountain. And here's how you know the difference. How many people do you know that are at the top of the mountain who are all alone, who are lonely, who are destructive to their relationships, friendships, and associations? They want to win at all cost. They're at the top of the mountain alone. That's what you call, in fact, John Maxwell says this. He says, that's what you call a hiker. A leader gets to the top with everyone by their side. Yeah, maybe some will not make it. Maybe there's a few people that fall by the wayside. But the reality is they're not up there alone. They're at the top of the mountain with everyone else by their side. That's a leader. That's someone who influences. That's who brings people along. Instead of being in your communities, in your churches, in your families, in your business, pointing the finger to others as to what they should and shouldn't be doing. Lead by example. Lead them to where they need to go. Lead them by showing the fact that you contact, you prospect. You lead by doing the things that you're doing that are positive, that are good, that are bringing light and business to your life. That's the beauty of it. Next point I wrote down, winning is in the details. It's simple. I've said this for years. And I deeply believe it. You want to win at life? Get detail-oriented. You think that Michael Phelps or a Michael Jordan didn't look at every single detail and nuance to the way in which they shot a basketball or swam a lap or did the butterfly or what they did when they were shooting free throws? Every great champion recognizes that you have to pay attention to the details. So winning is in the details. What details do you need to be paying attention to? What details have you been avoiding? Are you so obsessed with getting to the top that you're not concerned with who gets there with you? It's not okay, because you're going to be lonely at the top and you're just a hiker. Details to the top, details of winning, pay attention, get coached. Gosh, schedule a strategy session or get with your manager, with ESS, or get with your manager. Do something, right, that steps you forward, right? I know that Alex just joined coaching, and congratulations, Alex. Excited to have you on board. Guys, coaching is an insurance policy for your dreams and goals. What are you going to do to pay attention to the details of winning? What are you doing every day to win the game of real estate? Your health, your finances, your relationships, your marriages, your partnerships. It's an interesting deal. Life is interesting in closing. I say interesting because people can look at others in judgment or curiosity. They can look at others and recognize where they can see that they're going down a pathway of destruction, or they can look at others because they've already gone down that path and can lead them along a better path or to the better path and hold on to their hands so they don't fall to destruction. Look, that's what coaching is. That's what leadership is. That's what being a great human being is. Whether it be to your community, whether it be to this company, to your family, step forward and lead. Right? Where should you be leading that you're not? When is that moment where you sit there and wash your hands and say, no more? No more not having enough business. No more not talking to not enough people. No more to not mastering scripts and dialogues. No more. No more to not winning. No more to not paying attention. No more waiting for business. Going out and getting business is what you do. When will you defy the odds? Right? When will you defy the whole point of what people say you can or can't do and say, you know what? I choose to do what I can do and I will be the decision maker. When will your goals be to where you tell someone and they laugh about it because they're so high, but you know deep inside you that you can achieve them? How many times will you let your discouragement take over, or the opinions of others, or the media telling you what you should be doing today? Guys, gals, it is time to wake up and live the life that you're destined to live. And if you're living it now, Congratulations. If you're not, step forward. Go live the life you're destined to live and live an extraordinary life. I remind you again in closing, your days are known. I know they are. So live an extraordinary life. You're not going to get out of this life alive. Something will take you down. Something. And you're right. None of us maybe know what it is. And you say, well, I don't want it to be COVID. Okay, I agree. I don't want mine to be either. But what else are you doing? Gosh, I mean, do you wear your seatbelt? Do you eat right? Do you exercise? Do you take care of this great gift of a body that you have been given to live this extraordinary life that you get to live in? And do you take care of it at a level that you become so strong internally and emotionally and spiritually and physically that you know that truly that when the day is nigh or day is near that you are done, that the day will be that it's because that's the day it's supposed to happen. And you know what? That's sometimes tough to swallow. But you know what? You have the power to tell yourself whatever story you choose. And you can listen to this in arrogance and say, George, you don't know what I'm talking about. You're talking about. I can tell you that I appreciate your position, but I would tell you that I do. I have had the opportunity to coach thousands of people, thousands of sessions for 2 decades now. And I'm here to tell you that the story you tell yourself matters. And your desire to live in either fear or your dreams is a decision that you and you only can make. And now that you've been put on notice and that you're aware, ask yourself, are you living in fear or are you living your dreams? And that you know the difference. What are you scared of versus what do you desire? Maybe another way is not to live a life based on everything you're scared of and trying to avoid, and living a life that you want that is based on your desire. Your most sacred desires. That's living. That's living. So wake up. Live in the light. Live in the beauty of life. Live with love. Live with beauty. Live with joy. And live. Instead of falling back and getting sucked into all the things that everyone else wants to tell you should believe and focus on. Stop it and go live an extraordinary life. You're destined to do so, and it is a must for every single one of you. All right, gang, have an extraordinary week. Gosh, it's just Monday. Go for it. Have a great week. Talk to your sphere. Make the contacts. Talk to your people. Show up at the trainings. Get committed by your actions because they show what you're willing to do. You got this. There's nothing you can't do in this business. Nothing you can't do. Nothing you can't learn. So go do it and have an extraordinary week. Again, I'm going to stay on for a minute. I want to read these chats. I sure hope that you've written down, what are you committed to being? What are you committed to doing? What is the commitment of the life that you choose to live starting right now? Where are you going? Where are you heading? And let's live a great one together. All right, guys, have an extraordinary day. We'll talk to you soon, okay?